to the cloud. I want to welcome everyone to this episode of Empower Teen Self-Esteem. Today, we are being joined by Katie Yev, and she is going to talk to us about emotional well-being. And that is something that we can all benefit from learning more about. So welcome, Katie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I am honored. I have actually sat on several of your sessions before. So I know that you are very good at getting people to calm down and relax. I thoroughly enjoyed your sessions. So before we get into the advice that you have for parents and our teenagers, first, why don't you tell us exactly what you do and a little bit about your business?
Sure. So my biggest goal is to help people, to empower them and to equip them with tools to live a vibrant life, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So when all of those come together, that's when we feel our best. So today, as you mentioned, we're going to focus on emotional well-being, and that's what I focus a lot on in my work, so that we are able to really dive into what is emotional well-being, because it's very unique to each person. So helping each person recognize what it means for them, what their little whispers are, what their little language, their communication system for their emotional well-being is. And I do that through workshops or one-on-one coaching, and we create really unique, individualized routines that is helpful to it's a tool for your emotional well-being. And they can include yoga poses, they can include meditations and breath work. I include affirmations and essential oils as well, but it's almost like, build your own kind of situation. So let's say sometimes clients say, I don't really have a mobility to do some yoga poses. And that's okay. There's movement. We're more about movement. We're not about yoga poses. We're more about bringing movement to various parts of our body. How can we do that so we can really take care of our whole self, not just a particular part? It's about the whole self. So any mobility works. As long as you can breathe, you can be using these tools for your emotional well-being.
That's awesome. I think the way you just explained it, for me, it makes it seem not so intimidating to get started for those who might not have a regular routine already. So, like, for instance, if someone wants you to do yoga, but you haven't even been exercising or stretching every day, it can feel like, wow, I have this vision of, this person doing all these difficult poses, and I don't feel like I can do that. To your point, if you look at it like, let's just start with just getting you to move your body, then
Yeah.
I think we feel like, okay, this is doable. I can step into this. So I like the way you explained that.
Yeah. And I also love when people, it's all so personal and so unique, right? So for some people, they're going to need a little bit more of that physical, like you said, that more of that challenge with the pose. And for others, it can be such a big challenge that they look at that and they're like, I don't even know where to begin. I can't even
Uh-huh.
touch my toes. And it's not about that. So when people say like, oh, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible.
Hmm.
And I always say, can you breathe? And they'll say, yes, you can do yoga. If you can
There you
breathe,
go.
do yoga. It's
There
all
you
about this
go.
mindful movement.
I love it. Okay. So now let's talk to parents or teens. And how does this apply, or how can a teen or parents leverage this in their relationships? How does this show up and fit in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a parent of a teenage daughter and soon to be teenage son. And I love this topic because I've always loved the emotional, exploring emotions. And sometimes people are like, oh, emotions, like we think of the emotions like joy or happiness or vibrancy. And then we think, oh, there's anger and grief. And we think, oh, those are not fun. But that's okay. If we don't look at them as black and white and we just look at them as just an emotion. It's neutral, right? There's
Mhm.
joy and there's anger, right? Both live within us. Both are at our reach, right? But what do they show us, right? So when we as parents or as humans become aware of our own emotional well-being and how we operate, then as parents we can see and teach and teach by example and just teach through conversation our kids how to be aware of these emotions, right?
Mhm.
And not to dismiss them and say, don't feel that way. You shouldn't feel angry, or like, don't show anger, like things like that, especially when we think about kids being little, right? And they throw a tamper tantrum, right?
Temper tantrum, yes.
And we look at that, and this is their way of expressing what's happening inside. They can't say I'm frustrated. They can't
Mhm.
say, uh, this, first my cup was pink, and then now, my suck is itching me, and then now I'm angry. They
Uh-huh.
can't express that. They just show it to us. But then we're like, oh, especially in public, sometimes we're like, oh, calm down. Like, it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. So we do the same with, like, when they express emotions and they're like, you say something to them and they stump their feet or they roll their eyes, right? Like all the things that teenage, or the sigh, like, oh, like that all the parents know. This is for us as parents, this is our clues. Oh, so I see that you're feeling, and if they don't say the emotion, I try not to put it in their words. I see that you're feeling something. What is it? What's going on? And starting that nothing, like,
Mhm.
okay, you don't want to talk about it, I understand, but I'm here to listen. And so it's that conversation that happens sometimes, right? And then we as adults were like, oh, I feel angry, that doesn't feel good. Oh, there's this movement that I can do, or this breath, or this meditation, let me do that. For
Mhm.
teenagers, it's not going to be that, like, oh, you feel this way, here, try this breath work. They'll be like, oh, we're going to get that same thing. So how can we even, like, I feel the awareness in teenage years is what's important, right? And for
Mhm.
us as parents to watch that some emotions, you know all emotions are normal, but some, if we notice as a parent, like, this just doesn't feel right, it's happening
Yeah.
all the time, they feel the same, then we can reach out and search for help outside of the home. But at least
Yes.
we're aware, and we're not letting that just like we just not letting that snowball into something else, the suppression, or like not
Mhm.
expressing, or these type of things. So for parents, I feel like the first step is to know themselves. Like, if we know ourselves and how we operate, then we'll be like, oh, maybe this is their way that they operate. And
Mhm.
sometimes it makes no sense. You're like, you're my child. Why do you have a completely different set of things? But it just knowing that they process things differently emotionally,
Yes.
right? And
Mhm.
our emotional well-being is tied to our physical well-being. So there is in various modalities, like in Ayurveda, which is sister science of yoga, or in traditional Chinese medicine, emotions reside in various organs in our body. So,
Mhm.
for example, anger is in our liver. So and then grief is in our lungs. So all the organs, fear is in our stomach.
Hmm.
So sometimes, if you are prone to like anxious feelings or nervousness, sometimes you will notice that we call it butterflies in our belly or something
Yes.
like that. Or there might
Mhm.
be even like an upset stomach or something, like physical
Yes.
manifestation in that area. So that's why we want to be aware of that, and not like hyper focused for teenagers, just aware and just bring that up. Oh, I see that you feel angry. Even asking them sometimes, like, how do you process anger? Like, what do you do?
Mhm.
Like, is there like, do you just need to go to your room and chill out for a little bit? Or do you need to go outside and take a walk? Just seeing what resonates for them. And then at some point, they're going to start noticing, oh, I did this and I felt better, or I
Mhm.
felt a release, and then that's where I feel like also a bonding happens between a parent and a child when we talk about emotional well-being. Because if we're vulnerable and open, we'll share our situations, our stories from our life. I remember I had a test and I felt so scared, my stomach hurt, and then
Yes.
like we can share that, and it's relatable, and they're like, oh, look at this adult that I look up to or live with or have to
Mm-hmm.
listen to, and
Mm-hmm.
they felt the same way, and it becomes relatable. And then for them, it's like, oh, it's a part of being nervous about the test, which
Mm-hmm.
is normal. And just like, what do they tell us these feelings? Or like, if something like, as we say, it rubs us the wrong way, why? Why is it rubbing us the wrong way? Like, just
Mm-hmm.
asking these questions, like, why does this bother me? This person said this, and it just like, I'm like so now frustrated, or like, or I'm so upset about this. Why is this happening? So it's like, why? So that's the biggest question, like, that we can ask and help our teens self-discover, like,
Mm-hmm.
why?
Awesome. That's fantastic stuff. And I like how at the beginning when you started talking, you talked about looking for those indications that things are not well with you yourself, even as a parent.
Yep.
So understanding, so how do some of those things manifest themselves that you need to look out for? Like if I'm listening to this and I haven't done this before, and
Right.
you say, okay, look out for your indications.
Yeah.
What am I looking for? How am I doing that? I want
Yeah.
to proactively start.
I
What
love
am I
it.
literally doing?
This is a great question. It brings us to mindfulness and awareness, right? And through practices like meditation, or just like anything that like slows you down, you begin to notice things. So you're looking for patterns, right? You're looking for
Okay.
patterns, or like negative self-talk, right? Like, oh, Katie, you like, this always happens. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
why didn't it just work out the way I wanted? Like, you notice you're losing control, and you're starting getting angry. And you know what? Kids are great indicators for that too. So if you have kids, they will ask you like, is everything okay? Like, my kids will be like,
Yeah.
everything okay? You're like rushing too much. And to me, it's like, ooh, okay, breath.
Mm-hmm.
Oof, okay.
Yes.
So look out for these things. They're happening in your life right now. Right now,
Mhm.
there's patterns that you might just be repeating there, because you're in a loop and you're just repeating the pattern, and it doesn't feel good. And then you do something, and then you go right back to it, and it happens again. So notice those patterns. When you notice a pattern of emotion, right? Let's take an emotion, easy one, like anger. What angers you? Is it the same thing or similar things? Okay, now why is this angering you? Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit of self-discovery. And a
Yeah.
lot of times it's, our past experiences, something from childhood. It could be something small, not being included in a play,
Mm-hmm.
that now you carried on into your adult life. And now every time you're not included, you get frustrated, and you don't understand why. You might not even want it to be included in this, but
Mm-hmm.
that act of not being included now stirs something. But then when you're aware of it, and you're like, oh, Katie, it's because you remember sixth grade play and you didn't get to play that part that you wanted. And now
Mm-hmm.
you think that this is the same situation, but it's not. It's a new situation. So what goes
Yes.
into play here is our mind.
Yes.
Amazing tool we have, so powerful, keeps us safe, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
what it does. It keeps us safe. If you're getting too hot, too close to a fire, we'll tell you, pull your hand away. Danger, danger. Does
Mm-hmm.
the same for emotions, right? You get close to an emotion, and it's like, I remember this. This was awful. We went through this. I'm going to pull you away from it. It's danger. So then it prevents us from engaging in situations that are similar, where you might fail,
Right.
because the brain says, but that one time in third grade you
Mm-hmm.
failed.
Mm-hmm.
You failed, so this must be the same thing. And that's where we're like, oh, I'm willing to accept this chance of failing again, and just
Mm-hmm.
try it. So then, that sometimes it manifests as procrastination, right? Procrastination usually is because we feel like we can't either make something perfect, like perfectionism comes in, right? Well, if I
Yes.
make it perfect, I'm not even going to begin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, okay, well, being aware of that, oh, that's how I work, that's why this,
Yes.
and not defining yourself by, oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just lazy, I procrastinate. That's
Mm-hmm.
not true. That's not true. We are infinitely able of everything. So it's just like tapping into that and releasing the mental part. And I feel like that's where mindfulness and meditation is really, really helpful, because when we slow down and we don't let our brain just like run those loops that it's running, because it's super powerful. It's just knowing that I have this mind, it's super awesome, and it will actually believe everything I tell it to believe, right?
Yes.
So if I tell it that it's okay to try something new, it will resist, but I'm in charge. Like I can do that, right? And then what happens is if we're living too much in our mind, right? Too much in the control of like, I shouldn't do this, or I can't do this, it's in that, then we're not listening to what's happening in the heart, right? Because the heart is like, let's try this new thing, maybe this experience, right? And the mind is like, no, this is going to be bad. We're going to feel that feeling, right? So it's like connecting these two, right? Mind and body, right? And soul, because they each has its role, right? So that's where the emotions each has its role, right? It's just showing us. So to answer your question, we're looking for patterns. We're looking for at ourselves, where don't we feel where do we feel resistance? Where do we feel like, well, this is super easy, I'm going to do this, right? And we're like putting it off, or we're like, ooh, I'm afraid of this, I don't even want to try this. Oh, this is not for me. Oh, I don't dance, it's not for me. Or, oh, I don't, why is that? Why does that create? And if it's just like that inner voice saying like, I just don't want to, that's okay. But if you feel like, oh, it's because I'm going to look silly, or it's because, then it's like, oh, okay, what else is this stopping me from doing? Is it stopping me from putting out my best work, my best effort, my true self out, right? Am I adjusting to fit, whatever situation is, or am I coming into each situation as truly myself? So the patterns are going to be your clue. Like if you feel, like rubbed the wrong way, that it's like, oh, this always happens to me, like if you don't want to give into that victim mentality, that's your clue. Like that's your clue that something's there that you can uncover for yourself, release, just shine light on. That's what I feel like a lot of it is, right? It's like this darkness, and we are the light, and we move the light wherever we want it to go. And sometimes like, ooh, it's so dark there, I don't even want to shine, but we can.
Yeah.
We can.
You know what? That's awesome. And when you touched on one point, it really triggered a memory for me when you talked about, focusing on making something perfect that you procrastinate or you never get it done. And I remember, planning to start making videos, and that led to me doing a podcast. And I remember thinking, wait, I got to get the right microphone, the right background. I have to learn how to do an introduction. I have to and I remember watching this one gentleman who has had thousands of videos out there and had a lot of success. And he said, you just need to get started, because the process of beginning and then you actually doing the work, you're going to grow and learn as you go. And people are going to know when you're new, and they're going to expect for you to grow from there. So it's okay. Don't sit back and wait until you know how to make the perfect video or the perfect podcast. You can actually learn from experiences and grow as you go. So I just thought that was great advice. And when I look back, and the good thing is, he's very successful now, but he showed some of his first videos, and he was like, look at me, look at what I did, and now I'm here today. So don't sit back and wait until you can do this perfectly, because you're new at it, and it's ridiculous for you to expect yourself to do it perfectly. Just go do it, and you'll learn as you go. So that, I love that advice. I love that advice. And yes, when I look at some of my earlier videos, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I love it, because that shows you also growth, right? It shows you growth. You can look back and be like, oh my goodness, look how much I learned along the way, and find appreciation in that, versus, because we, once again, control my mind. There's two things we can say. We can say, oh my goodness, I can't believe I put that out, how embarrassing. Or we can say, oh my goodness, look where I started, and I've grown, and pat on the back, I did it. So I wanted to quickly, I forgot the name of the book, but I just looked it up. It's called John Acuff, That's his name. That's the author. And the book is Finnish. And basically
Oh,
the theme or the message of the book is done is better than perfect. And it talks about
ah,
how doing trains our mind, that it's like check mark done, check mark done. And then we are not as focused on the perfectionism and get it done perfectly, but just get it done.
awesome.
So a lot of times, when I have that hesitation, I still do. And that's what's really like, I want to always be like, sometimes people are like, oh, Katie, you're so calm, or like, you're so, and the truth is I'm not. Like, I have all the emotions, I have all the ups, I have all the downs, I have the procrastination, I have the perfection. Like, I call myself recovering perfectionist,
Mhm.
but it's the awareness, right? I'm aware that it's there. And when I see myself doing this, oh, I'm gonna wait till the color scheme is just right on the
Yes,
pamphlet, right? And then I'll say, done is better than perfect,
that's right.
and you just like
Let
move
it
through it. Like,
go.
give yourself 5 minutes, like 5 minutes, I'm going to do this. Done is better than perfect, because then our brain is like, well, we can't do this forever. So when we give it to, like, it's only 5 times, or it's only for this thing, the
Mhm.
brain's like, okay, all right, yeah, I can get along with that. I thought this was
Uh-huh.
forever and I got scared, so
Uh-huh.
yeah.
That's a really good way to put it. So you have shared a lot of good information with us today. I cannot take, and I love it because you are so energized. You can tell that you are doing what you actually love, because the energy and the passion when you are talking about these things is so evident. So I believe people will definitely want to connect with you and learn more about the services that you offer. So tell us what you have, if anything, that's coming up, and then what are the ways that people can connect with you?
Absolutely. So I really love sharing this information and just providing these tools. And I know that every time somebody reads something or sees something, there's going to be, this nugget that they take away, and that it's so specific to them. So in 2022, I'm going to have monthly workshops on different topics. So
Mhm.
week, 1 month, we might talk about emotional well-being. The next month, we're going to talk about how to like deeply connect with ourselves. Maybe we'll do a deep dive into meditation, what it is, also breaking that down. So just really breaking down the tools that we have access to us, and really empowering self-exploration, like getting to know ourselves, the
Mhm.
awareness. How does our mind work? How do I work? Like, I know that I'm more than just, the physical body. What is
Mhm.
this voice inside? What is this voice in the heart? So that's the workshops coming up in January. They're going to be starting January. They're going to be virtual, so online, accessible, super easy. So we'll have that resource. I'm also putting together, because I know some people like to hear things, some people like to read things. So I'm
Mhm.
putting together an emotional release guide, or a guide to different emotions, and then looking at them as far as releasing these emotions through the lens of 5 kind of tools, and you can pick and choose. So it's going to be, the tools are going to be yoga poses, breath work, so doing breathing exercises, meditation, which is different than breath work. They sometimes go together, sometimes not, but more meditation. I'm looking at quieting the mind and just
Mhm.
really like just really sinking into the essence of you. And then also essential oils. How does that sense of smell that when we inhale something, we use our limbic system in a brain, which is the seat of our emotions. How can we
Mhm.
use that tool for our emotional well-being, especially in situations where it's like, oh my goodness, I just feel so this nervousness inside of me. Like, how can we breathe that in? And that's really great tools for that, like just in the moment. And then of course, as a journey, like if you want to take it further. And the
Mhm.
last one is affirmations. How do we
Yes.
train our mind and infuse our mind, and just, or even just flip things, right? Like when sometimes I work with people and they say, I'm not good with technology. And I said,
Mhm.
you can flip that and say, I'm learning technology, right? Or I saw Soraya just posted something wonderful where it says about like saying, sorry, I'm late. or thank you
Yes.
for waiting for me. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
how beautiful. Sorry, you feel bad. And you're like, oh my goodness, instead of coming from the place of gratitude and saying, thank you for waiting for me. Oh my
Yes.
goodness, what a change in you, right? Like you give this gratitude to another person. It accomplishes the same thing as saying, sorry, I'm late, right? Or even
Mm-hmm.
more, you're
Mm-hmm.
appreciating the person for their time.
That's right.
So that's where affirmations come in. So I'm putting this tool out. It should be ready by the end of December, and it's going to be a download available on my website, which is totallysunnylife.com, which is a great way to get in touch with me. There's a contact me page and
Awesome.
links to my YouTube channel where I have some meditations and yoga videos and things like that, resources like that, and my social media, Instagram. And that's whichever kind of communication works for you, works great for me, email, through website, or through social media.
Awesome. And I will make sure that I put your website and any other links that you want me to in the description of the video so that people can follow up with you. But thank you so much. This has been informative. It's been uplifting. It makes things not seem so intimidated to take those steps towards emotional well-being. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to share and be here on this wonderful, wonderful podcast.
Thank you. And I want to thank those who have tuned in for this episode and ask that you join us for our next episode of Empower Teen Self-Esteem. Thank you. And I'm going to stop the recording.